Hello there, ladies, gentlemen, and unicorns, and congratulations, Frank, on winning the new quiz. Cursibu is a close second, and venereal disease, despite all the ads for the university, is on third place. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes, we have levels. As I said before, no technical difficulties today. Oh, the light is not switched on. That's brighter. Anyway, and I jinxed it. As soon as I say not due to technical difficulties, something here breaks. As long as it's not me, I think we can cope, but still, it's, yeah. Good. So Frank says, you can hear me. This is wonderful. Hello, everyone. Thank you for dropping by to my birthday stream. Yes, we're just doing celebrations here on this channel. This has turned into a party channel where we're just every new week we find something that we can celebrate. This time, it's me. Yeah, I had my birthday this week, and I was celebrating with way too much coffee and way too much cake. Just not just on the day, but the days leading up to and afterwards, because you have to give your body at this age, you have to ease it into accepting cake, and then you have to slowly turn down the amount of cake it receives every day. Otherwise, you can't just quit cake cold turkey. Also because that's a bird, and this does not work. So this is my plan for the rest of or the start of the next week. Is just easing out my cake and coffee consumption. Well, not the coffee consumption. Talking about coffee, I know it's a bit vain, but I do love this mug. I have to say it gives me joy, and also the build quality is, I mean, that's the medium one, and it's surprisingly big. I thought the medium one would be, as you know, with Starbucks, when you order something that's called a tall, that's the smallest size. So yeah, words don't mean anything anymore. Cheers. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Thank you, Commander Stitch. Thank you, Venereal Disease, and thank you, Cursibu. Oh, this is so nice. What kind of cake? Yeah, this is an important question indeed. Pretty much all of them, I would say. In the cafe where my new default cafe since we've moved, they were so nice there. Apparently, Connie said something, and now my birthday made the rounds start. And when we were there, I had some ice cream that was on the house, and even the owner congratulated me personally. It was really nice. So I had ice cream. I had some, what was it, marzipan, chocolate cake. I've had tea cake, which is just some stuff that you eat while you drink your tea, your Earl Grey with the ladies. Then I think I had a slice of chocolate cake. I wanted to try the strawberry cake, but I was too full for that. And the other thing that I had was Kaiserschmarrn. Frequent viewers know that Kaiserschmarrn is something that I very much cherish. So yes, I had lots of cake. Thank you for the question. I wish those merch companies did espresso cups. Indeed, because with espresso cups, as I sometimes feel this is a missed opportunity, because everyone and everything got mugs like this. Recently at the good old Doc, they have, as you probably know, they have their mugs of their favorite, I don't know, sellers for their drugs. And it was Samtamine was there. And I thought, yeah, really, you need a mug for this. And yeah, it's just for the pens, but still, you feel like not everything needs this size of a mug. Sometimes a little nice espresso mug would be nice, where it just it has something funny written on, like less depresso, more espresso, or something along those lines. That's so nice, this venereal disease. Yes, indeed, it is. Like I said, I'm just, yeah, I'm really sorry, Frank, that you were so nice and ordered from Redbubble right before I thought I can't take them anymore, and you had such a terrible experience with their shipping, the packing quality. So I hope that the mugs you got from Redbubble with this wonderful design are still working. And I mean, on the upside, on the downside, you had to quarrel with their support team, but on the upside, as you said, you also have a cup now just for your pens. Oh yes, and also today I got the T-shirt on that is also on shop.pixelprophecy.com. Again, this is from Fourth Wall, is the company that does the fulfillment company or whatever it's called. And so so far from the quality, I'm pretty happy, I would say. But yeah, we just have to see how much it survives frequent washing machine trips, and yeah, and how it looks in 1 or 2 months down the line. But still, Frank, thank you for being the early adopter of trying out these mugs. Ice cream, says Cursey-Boo. Indeed, the automated unicorn chomps down ice cream. I'm waiting for the Pixel Prophecy shot glass. Oh yeah, because then, yeah, this... you mean the drinking game? Probably we need the big water. Frank says, oh, it's fine, I still have to glue some. But I now have 5 mugs for the price of 2. At least that's something. It reminds me of the good old Simpsons joke where Apu is giving Homer a bucket full of shrimps, and Homer says, but this smells awful, and the ice has already melted, and Apu says, okay, 2 buckets. And so yeah, Homer is all it's all good, all appeased. Shots of pure caffeine. Yeah, once when I was with school, this probably is 20 years back, or no, more than 20 years. Oh God, I'm old. Then we went to Hungary, and there you could buy caffeine tablets in the supermarket, and we got some, and yeah, I got the shakes because I took 2 caffeine tablets. At least we thought it was caffeine. None of us spoke Hungarian, so no idea what I took. I mean, I'm still alive, and probably this is the reason why I'm so quirky. Frank says, only 2 in perfect condition, but still. I mean, probably that's more or less something for the archaeologists to find. It's no fun if they all find perfectly pristine, preserved cups. They need some shards that they can piece together. Otherwise, where's the fun in archaeology? Shots of pure cookie. Oh, cookie. Shots of cookie. I mean, there is cookie dough, the Ben & Jerry's ice cream flavor, and I think I've had too much of that because when I was in college, I think I just ate the bucket-wise. And I think I've had my fill of cookie-flavored things, unless, of course, they are actual cookies. And Badger Dash also says, happy birthday. I say thank you to you. And 3 are unique. That's... the mugs, you mean? Yeah, this was a riddle. So 5 mugs, but only 2 in perfect condition, and so yeah, it's not a hard puzzle. Right. So what do I want? How do I want to celebrate? And longtime viewers of this show know, Ludum Dare 42 has been somewhat of a running joke because the production on this has come in fits and starts, and last week thankfully was a very productive week for me because I was still on vacation. So tomorrow the seriousness of my situation hits again by requiring me to be back at the office and do my usual job stuff. But the good thing is there's money in it, so it's give and take. Anyway, so I had some time on my hands and finally could address the thing that I dreaded to do. This was the reshoot of this one scene that I couldn't shoot where I shot it first because we moved away, and as I outlined in the last stream, it's not easy to even when we were living there, it wasn't easy to shoot there. So I had somehow to recreate the scene, the location, and it worked. And I'm pretty happy with the result, and I can show you something if you're up for it. And also Totvari says happy birthday. Thank you, Totvari. Thank you so much. I raise my glass or mug in your honor because you came to my birthday party, and it's not that this many people turned up to my birthday parties, especially when I was a kid. So cheers to you. I was allowed to invite one friend, and sometimes they didn't show. So, right, let me switch over to an unusual site. We're inside Premiere here. and we haven't been in Premiere for quite a while now, on stream at least, because you know my unhealthy obsession with Adobe. So I can show you a first couple of shots because I don't want to spoil it too much, but I also want to show you how this works with the wide shot. So let me see if I can make this full screen while we're watching. Yes, this is not full screen, this is half screen, and half of my screen is just all the chat just is black. It's the premiere of the Premiere for this year. On stream, yes, I've worked with Premiere a lot already, but yeah, nothing on stream because I was a little bit afraid of how it would handle the, you know, Adobe products are pretty much known for gobbling up all GPU and video memory there is. So yeah, I rendered the little making of right in well, in parallel to the actual countdown, and this is why the stream started a little bit later, because I was still editing a very short making of featurette. Right, but we're interested in seeing how this display alpha mode, how the scene turned out, and I think for lack of a better alternative, I just do this and make the program monitor real big. So hopefully that you can follow along. And so thank you, Badger Dash. Wow, for 1,000 bits you cheered. Oh my God. Where is my, oh my God, I wanted to have the party hat. I wanted to bring the party hat last week for the unicorns. By the way, yes, the unicorns, they are still here. And they are taking care of the chat, making everything that is behind the text a little bit noisy and thus hard to read. But they're just such good unicorns, so I wouldn't mind. But yes, thank you, Badger Dash. I wanted to have this what's it called, this paper trumpet, because for occasions such as this. So thank you so much for congratulating me on my birthday and for the 1,000 bits. Oh my God. Thank you, Cursive. Yeah, now we just have emotes of hats. That's fine with me. This also works. Right, so this is, let me just play while I mute the music. Let me just play the first couple of shots just so you get a feel for the end result and how well it works together. You ready? Here we go. Earnest inspiration. Jesus. Pigs! How the hell did you get in here? The door was open. Bullshit! You jimmied it open again, you and so on and so forth. So this is the result with, I mean, I have a couple of insert shots there as well, but so far I think you know that it kind of works. When you watch the background here, it really looks like that it ties this wide shot here together with the close-ups, right? So yeah, that is all filmic trickery, and as you know from last time where I said, yeah, I have an idea of how to tackle this that does not involve a blue screen, and this also does not involve building or rebuilding the entire set. And I'm just glad that it worked. Frank said, I did read the script, but it's been a while, so I don't remember much. Okay, this is good, because then it will be somewhat new to you. So what I have prepared is now the behind the scenes making of featurette. It's I think 6 minutes. I just edited this roughly together of what I recorded, and it's not so it's edited, but only slightly. So there we go, full screen here, and so hopefully, I mean, you know what, you can enjoy this in full screen. You don't need me reacting to the video that I already know. So yeah, hopefully this provides some insight to you, and I will keep the mic open in case I need to talk over it. Yeah, this is exactly what it looks like. Very, very carefully positioned the camera, and the problem was that this shot here was up an angle that I had to account for. Welcome to the studio with scene 5, the detective in the warehouse at night confronting inspiration. So this shot is going to be shot from here, and this is going to be the mat that it's going to be shot against. So I'll be kneeling on this pillow here, and my field of view will actually be those two lights. There should be the camera, the microphone of course, and I have a nice light here from the back and the ceiling light as well. So you can see here my trench coat and my notes, the script actually, just to be sure that I don't miss any lines. Yes, and this is me in costume with the lighting of the scene. It looks a bit bad through the phone here now, I see, but in the end it should come out quite well. So yeah, and this should be the background, and because it's slightly at an angle, it is also slightly angled here. You can see my rather clumsy attempts at making sure that this cardboard does not bend too much. So this is why I taped a plastic lid of a big box there. So hopefully it should hold. Yeah, the tripods here are affixed, or rather held in place, with sandbags, and yeah, this entire thing is rather flimsy, as you can see from either side. But I mean, for now it's holding, and hopefully I only need a couple of takes and then I can take it down. And already waiting here on the ground is the background for inspiration, which I will be shooting probably tomorrow. So yeah, I'm rather stoked to get back into it and hopefully still got it. Right, yeah, Frank, you said feels like a job to make sure to have no bad reflections. That was the main issue or thing that I had. But you can see hopefully my mouse pointer. And if not, this is why this innocuous box here is standing here, because the lights here in front were casting reflections onto the poster. So this is why this is standing here. This is a very precisely pile of junk essentially that I put here. And thank you, Cursibu, for enjoying the outfit. Yeah, this is how a usual take would go for this character. So I just started the audio recording, then start the camera. And here we go. Earnest inspiration. The door was open. The door was open. The door was open. So you see I do a couple of different reads on a certain line when I'm not sure which one works best in the edit, especially when I just start out with the first take of the first scene. It's hard to get into the tone of the previous scene. So it's always good to have a couple of different readings or takes on something, and then pick the one that works best. Usually it's either one of the first or one of the last ones. But yeah, when you look at this image here, this scene, it looks like absolute madness. It looks like, what the hell is this guy doing is in this fedora trench coat, kneeling on the ground with a blurry background as a poster behind him that's held in place. I mean, this toppled over like 3 times until I had the shot. And I always, the most worrisome part was not to get any creases or crinks or wrinkles into the poster, because they would start reflecting the light and would give away the illusion. So yeah. And DC says this is like science and art at the same time. That's filmmaking, I would say, indeed. And this is after a 3-minute long take where, yeah, my knees start hurting. I'm old. Back up in the office, I'm just quickly checking everything is on there, if everything is in focus, and if I didn't forget to switch on the audio recorder. I don't think that I did, but it happened. It's better be safe than sorry. Good news. Everything looks to be complete, in focus and not clipping on the audio side. So I think we're good on this shot and I can make this entire thing look like a normal studio again. Right before I mess it up again for the shot of inspiration talking to the detective. And here we have already the matte background for the counter shot of inspiration. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering what this junk here is, these boxes and crates behind me, this is how we store our batteries, our rechargeable batteries. So in case one of them starts to burn or starts to leak or whatever, they are all in their little, battery-safe little bags. And the bigger ones, they are stored in here because this one can, at least it contains some of the flames and fire. At least this is what they told me. Talking to the detective. But that's for another day. Yeah, that's the other day. Right. I'm setting up the camera now. Making sure that all the settings are how they should be. Then next I forgot to hook up the microphone. Not the first time, by the way. Already running, since the microphone is using phantom power from the audio device. This means the battery is running out pretty quickly, so I have not enough time. Phantom on, yes, I'm sure. I did have enough time. I meant to say not, I need to make my time count because I got like 20 minutes or 30 minutes of battery power because the audio recorder is also powering the microphone. Then as for input, I need to make sure that I'm not clipping this. Let's see. Okay, when this red thing here is blinking, it means it's armed to record. I don't know if you can see this. Let's zoom in. And this one. So the camera itself is also recording a raw video format, which means files get huge and the camera gets pretty hot. So I'm always on a timer, but it shouldn't look like I'm on a timer when I'm acting. But the scene is relatively long and I probably can't do this in one take. So yeah, let's see how fast I can go with this. Okay, audio is running. Camera is recording and we're at take 1. Jesus! Pigs? How the hell did you get in here? Oh, forgot to take off my watch. Oh. Probably a cameo of Future Phil then. Yeah, the one thing that is really hard is getting the eye lines correct because you have to look at something when you're acting and that something has to be somewhat besides the lens where it makes sense that you focus on something and you really have to imagine whoever you're talking to, how they are going to react or what their reactions are or where they actually are standing. So the more vividly you can visualize this, the easier it gets. But the funny thing also is, yeah, the thing with the watch, the good thing was I didn't have my hands that much in frame, so I could use a lot of the take where actually I had the watch on the hand. Let's do this again. Let's do another take. And because this was, the background was very planar and not at an angle, it made it so much easier so that I didn't have to angle the background plate. So I think that's a wrap on this character. And yeah, now is the most important part of any shoot is to leave everything as it is right now and watch whatever I just recorded on the computer and see if everything is in focus, if all the audio data is there and whether the thing works in the edit. And if everything is good, then I can come back and clean this mess up. Fingers crossed. And it's yet another day where I'm sitting there, still in costume, waiting for the files to copy so I can make sure I got everything that I need. And only then I can take this off. Yes, thank you. And this, hello, was the little making of the scene that you just watched. So now you know what all goes behind or into making this happen. And the good thing is I feel now that I'm at somewhat settled into a routine when I'm doing things like this. When you jump back and forth here, I mean, it really works. It really works. It feels, especially when you have here this establishing shot here in front, it feels like you're in the same location with this scene, what's going to happen. So thank you for entertaining me with your presence for this. And Tutvari says, sadly I can't watch the stream tonight, but happy birthday once again and see you on the VOD. Good night. Thank you, Tutvari. And yes, by the way, there will be VODs again on YouTube. This I just uploaded this year's videos right back until April. So starting from last video back to April, and I had one from last year that I also uploaded. So hopefully there should be more VODs see their way to YouTube for anyone who wants to watch them. It is not in this 2-week period that where everything is saved on Twitch. Martijn says, happy birthday, alles Gute zum Geburtstag. Oh, thank you, Martijn. Bedankt. Oh, this is so nice. Thank you for dropping by. Frank says, 3 days for a 15-second clip. Probably, I would say. I mean, the clip here is, in this case, a little bit longer than my usual thing of spending good old 3 weeks preparing and then having a 2-second or 5-second throwaway, a shot that you probably miss when you blink. Now this scene here has some development in it and goes on for a couple of minutes. So this is like 3 minutes, and again I'm just so glad that it worked, considering all the constraints that I had to work with. So DC says, a 1920s railroad worker in front of a 3-monitor setup is a very funny visual. Thank you. Indeed it is. Yeah, that's the funniest thing is when you see behind this scenes footage of some big blockbuster period piece, and then you see people in Victorian outfits smoking in front of a MacBook or something. It really does not compute in your brain. DC says, crazy how seamless it is though. And yeah, exactly, that's the magic of movie making. By the way, it was about centimeters there, or when you on the camera side, millimeters, because on either side of the frame, if this was not exactly as framed as it was right now, you would see one of the clamps on the top, or one of the tripods there at the sides, or maybe even in front the microphone. So everything has to be super locked down and tested. And the next thing is, as you can see, what always is a big problem when you're shooting alone is focus. Because you can't, I mean, you only know that you're in focus afterwards. And it happened that I had a wonderful shot and I was not slightly out of focus, but really badly out of focus. So you cannot use this. This is why I started always going, as soon as I thought I finished shooting, I go right to the computer and watch it on the big screen to see that everything that I want is there and in focus. Martin says, have you seen any of Joel Haver's film? Oh no, I have not. I love them. Almost all of them are made on a $0 budget. No, I have no idea who this Joel Haver is, but zero budget. That's I mean, you know me, I like doing indie stuff, whether it be indie games or in this case indie films about making jam games. So yeah, again, I'm just so glad that the idea that I had for pulling this off really worked. And the good thing also is, I've learned also one thing is there are never too many on-set photos. And the good thing was that I photographed everything with the light that I had set up here for the wide shot. So that I could easily just take pictures and stitch them together for this seamless looking background. Even there, photoshopped some crates in there. You don't see them, but before that it was just empty behind there. And the other thing is I even had it printed with a slight defocus effect on it, because I wasn't sure how close or how far away I would be from the poster, and that it still has this little filmic depth of field effect. So this again is baked in. This is how would some games of the 1990s did it, when they had 3D in engine cutscenes. But of course, this was before we could do real-time depth of field or real-time bokeh effects. In some games, I don't know which one it was, but it really stood out to me that they just had a blurred version of the background that they put on a quad in the background in front of the crudely animated polygon Muppet, and it worked. It looked kind of filmic. And again, I feel like there is so much common between this kind of indie gonzo filmmaking and making games. All worth it then, says Frank. Yeah, I would say also. Again, the posters, they were, I think, 1 meter by 60 centimeters or something, and I thought that's probably too big, and I was so glad that they had the perfect size. If I would have used one, I think the smaller one size smaller was 80 centimeters, and I already, as you see, especially here, I was already pretty close and cropped in. So yeah, that's another thing that I've learned. But the good thing is I'm done with this scene now. I don't have to do any sort of advanced green screen keying or anything. The good thing is even in the background, I'm casting shadows, if you can see this slightly on the background. And again, this, of course, I'm casting shadows. There is a light in front of me, and doing this on a virtual set, again, it's just another step of work. It's not impossible, but yeah, it takes time. And so this is probably my newest go-to when I know pretty precisely what kind of background that I want, and it's a relatively close-up shot. I just have a poster printed. It costs like 35 euros, this one poster, and I'm good. And now I have the experience for it. So again, I just wanted to share it with you because, like I said, I'm pretty happy with the result. And also my acting is not that horrible. It's not horrible. It's just the usual amount of so I think I'm happy with this. Right, look him up. He's an American filmmaker, says Martijn. He used to do weekly shorts, but last year he instead made 12 feature films in 12 months. Oh my god. He organizes a yearly event where he makes an entire film during the Oscars. My god, this sounds like a game jam. That's a film jam. By the way, talking about film jams, this is what we did in college. That was called Instant 36, and you had to make a film in 36 minutes. Also, we had a theme and we had a crew, and usually that I was on the post production side of things. So this usually meant I was with the crew when we brainstormed together the idea, and then it meant for me, okay, everyone's shooting now. I go back to bed and sleep, because once I wake up, we already will have the first reels was it reels? The first files of the first shots. And then it was just frantic. Sometimes we even did visual effects. And yeah, so this is why I sleep before that. But making a film during the Oscar, that's amazing. Like a game jam, but I love this. DC says, I like his rotoscope stuff. Oh, cool, then I have to look it up. Of course, as a bonus, says Frank, someone at a poster printing company is still wondering who wants posters of. Yeah, this is also with Connie. We also thought they probably will think, okay, either I'm insane or I'm a super weird eccentric, or this absolutely unable to use a computer, because that's blurry background, that intentionally blurry. One was too dark. They auto brightened it for me, which I wasn't too happy about it. So this is why here the background is a little bit too bright, I think. but it's okay. It's fine. I could have lit it a little bit less anyway. So they tried what they could to help me out with the backgrounds. But yeah, exactly. And the funniest thing is I got the automated mail. Hey, share a photo of your beautiful wall picture and show us how you've lit up the room with your thing. And I was really tempted to I don't know, just post this picture here, or even the one this one here where it's just leaned against two tripods in the background and write it looks perfect in my room, I love it. So just to add to the utter confusion of someone not knowing what is going on with this. It's with filmmaking you have such specific needs for. Sometimes it's only one shot, and whenever you think about back of how you achieved something, you have to be a little bit MacGyver, I feel, because you have also here I didn't know how to do this angled downwards thing. So as you see here, I misappropriated here our lounge chair for this, just because I didn't have something else to prop it up against, which of course meant I also couldn't go any higher, which meant okay, then the camera has to be low. As a result, well, I'm the most movable element in this, so it means okay, I kneel down on the ground trying to act as I'm in a completely different location. Again, it's fun. And posters of that. And Martin says, alternatively, you can project a background on the wall. Yeah, with background projection. That's a tried and true technique of filmmaking. I mean, they have been doing this since the 30s. There's also the scene in Space Odyssey 2001, if you know. That's the opposite. That's frontal projection. So if you remember the scene where they are with the apes in the big savannah, that is a relatively small set. In the background they have, I think, some kind of retro reflective screen. So the projection is hitting at the same visual axis as the lens, because they have a halfway mirror that's angled at 45 degrees. So if you imagine me, I'm the camera filming the scene, but behind you in the scene there is a reflective screen. So there is a projection that is projecting downwards onto this here. This is the mirror, and the mirror is projecting at the same light or at the same angle. So this is why they don't have any shadows. You don't see the shadows because you're on the exact same line as a projector. Crazy stuff. And before that, they had back projection, which meant you had to have, a halfway transparent background. So you needed lots of light, and the image always was a little bit washed out. This is what you would see with car chases or any kind of scenes that are inside cars, where the background somewhat looks much more jagged and wiggled than the foreground and all. Yeah, back projection. So I never dabbled with this. Once I did in college, and it was just, we had so much problems because, of course, the background needs to be super bright, but only from the projection. So nothing else in the scene that you light must hit the back projection, otherwise the image suddenly gets milky. And then of course you have things like the frame rate of the projector did not match the frame rate of the camera, or suddenly you had some weird motion artifacts, or it started flickering. Nightmare. So I think this poster, as low res as it is or low tech as it is, it really worked best. You asked for a wall picture. Exactly, it is picture of a wall. Keep the posters for a Pixel Prophecy art exhibit. Yes, I already joked that maybe I should sign them. It's like, yeah, that's maybe if someone tapes a banana on top of it, suddenly it becomes something. But yeah, indeed, it's probably a very puzzling piece of art, because it's not even that pleasant to look at. It's a background. It was never meant for anything else but a background. And I think this whole 100% purpose buildness, if that's a word, spoiler, it is not, is giving it this weird aura of, is this art? Or no, in this case, what I would say, the backgrounds of animated movies, those are artworks. This is not. That, despite taking a lot up of my time in Photoshop. Frank says, I'm reminded of a stand-up maths / Matt Parker thing. He had a similar thing that he wanted a bunch of flyers printed wrong, and it took several attempts. Oh, thank you for sharing. Oh, Matt Parker. Where I've heard this. But yeah, this is the thing. Sometimes you just want something intentionally, and there are so many guardrails in place. Like I said, this automated brightness thing there with the poster. And it's the same thing when you do printouts or of your photos. I mean, I think you know what this is, some kind of photo booth where you just plug in your phone and you can select which photos do you want printed. And I thought, before the Level Up, this was the gaming expo or gaming con earlier this year. Yeah, I do something. I just have some sort of business cards printed for my game, because it's cheaper to have them done in a photo booth than use my old but trusty but still somewhat flaky printer, because you never know with printers, and it's probably just cheaper if I just have them done in a photo booth. Turns out there was too much white around, because of course I had markers and things where I wanted to cut out everything, and this entire software, I couldn't convince it that please just print the file as is. Do not smart zoom, do not crop, do not enhance, whatever. It was not possible. And in the end, then I had something that was way too big. It was just stretched to fill, so certain things were cut off, and I just, oh, please. And now we're getting whole circle again. And sometimes it feels certain software is like this, where you go like, please, I know what I'm doing, just please let me do it. And they come hell or high water, they will keep their guardrails in place. And you have to be super creative just to do something that is not what they want you to do. Anyway. And Frank says, in his case, it was much less subtle than brightness. Oh, okay. Martin says here are some of Joel Haver's shorts where he does a back projection for an old-timey look. I have, again, now so many things after this stream on my watch later list. Thank you so much for sharing this with me. It's, like I said, I always learn something new, and again, it never disappoints. Sounds like using modern software. Yeah, that's the thing, right? This is why I like certain programs, the certain open source programs much better, because they do not try to hide something away behind a fun wizard. My joke that I always return to is the Winnie the Pooh print studio. This is the reason why your printer drive is like 300 megabytes in size, because it all has these bells and whistles and automatic image enhancement and color vividness. And especially when you're someone who knows what they're doing, as in my case, I feel like being a colorist, I have a certain grasp on images and color and color science and calibration. So when something, I think you know this yourself. You really want to get to the engine and not have to talk with an engineer or a mechanic who then does things to the engine with their interpretation of what you actually want. Many of the Mac software products, I feel, are pretty much the same, where they just do everything to protect you from yourself. But if you know what you're doing, they're not letting you what you want to do. Anyway, Frank says the thumbnail of that video actually shows the error right away. So then I have to click it, right? If I get to the thumbnail. There we go. Come on. Humble pie, Matt Parker, stand-up mathematician. Okay, where is the error? Where's the error? Is it this thing here on top? No, this is not. Please print A5. Thanks. Interesting. I don't see right now what the problem is. But I probably have to watch it. Software that thinks it knows what you want better than you is so condescending. Exactly. I think you've put it much better than me in one sentence. Yes, it is condescending because the software thinks they know better what you want. And again, I try to keep it down, but I just say one word: Adobe software. Martin says, I sadly can't stay as I'm currently on holiday, but happy birthday again. You know what? So am I, but I'm so happy that you decided to drop by. Anyway, have a wonderful holiday. Enjoy your Sunday, which probably is like any other day since you're on a holiday. And I hope you get to play some old DOS games. Which brings us probably to our next point on the agenda for today of things that I tinkered with this week. Frank says he wanted exactly what's showing on the screen, including instructions. Oh, so this one, please print A5 with everything and the markers. Okay, interesting. And you know what? I mean, this makes sense, because when you're a somewhat self-respecting person who really looks at this and does not some automated thing like, I don't know, packing mugs for people to receive on the other end of the world. This looks like an error, so you want to fix it. And even if there's nothing in it for you personally, I have the same flaw. It feels like, yeah, this is clearly wrong. Someone doesn't know what they're doing. I want to help them. Of course, if they say, please, don't touch this is intentional, then I say, okay, that's on you then. Just trying to help. Okay, this makes sense. This also had one experience with a storyboard. As you know, storyboard for drafting the layout of a scene before you shoot something. So you draw everything up, all the camera angles, and you have like instructions where someone is turning around you or the camera is panning out you draw little arrows in there. And I once had when I was doing commercial things back in college then, and where we had one client who said, yeah, I kind of like it, but there's one thing, you know, all the arrows, I don't think they work with our brand. And I looked at it, where are the arrows in there? I have no idea what they're talking about. And it turns out they thought all the arrows for camera movement and actor movement, that they are actual arrows in the scene. And of course, when you don't know, you don't know. Frank says he also had a certain amount of glitched posters. He put a lot of time in, and then the poster hanging people just skip those. Oh no! It fits the show comedy of maths errors. Apparently, indeed. Now I'm looking if there are any jokes in the numbers then. Gag reflex. Frank also said, indeed, the show was entirely about mistakes. And yeah, of course, when you have a show about mistakes, and then of course you want the poster to be a mistake. I mean, I totally get it. Oh, Kirsty, you got the book. Okay, then. This Matt Parker, I only heard of this guy, no idea. So apparently, subscribe. Thank you for pointing me to more things to waste my time with. Oh, wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Right, so let's close this. But yeah, this was again. I'm just so happy that this worked out so well. And there is one more scene that I need to reshoot. And the problem with this scene is, I mean, the way I shot it first, it was totally not working because I staged it inside an office, and it looked really not like an office. It looked like when we were living in our flat, it looked like the dining room there. So clearly, despite all my attempts to dress it up as something else. So I also had somewhat a technical mishap, where half of the reverse shots were gone. So I'm at a position where I probably wanted to reshoot it anyway. And this is the one scene from LD41 for 41. Oh my God, 42 that is still to be missing and needs to be shot. And for this, again, I want to find a solution. This one probably might involve some green screen, but I want an outside back alley shot at night, very dark and very where the lights, they come in slanted, and and you see the structure of the brick wall in the shadows. That's at least the idea. And I have no idea of how to stage this, but again, for this I will probably go to draw first storyboards and then probably build a mock-up in Maya or in another 3D program. So just that I can position the camera around and do all the hard work of figuring out how the scene should flow before I shoot one frame of film. I'm not shooting on film, but you know what I mean. And when I started out doing film stuff, I just winged everything. And of course, as soon as you wing it, suddenly you lock yourself into certain decisions that you made on the spot out of a whim because you didn't know any better, which just haunt you forever in the production. So, and I've learned it again the hard way is the more you, I mean, it sounds so stupid when I say it, but the better you prepare, the easier time you have in the post-production. And it's the same thing with pretty much everything. If you are prepared, you save time. It's like some people who, when we have meetings at work, meetings that could have been an email. And when you have some of those meetings or kickoff calls with clients, and most of them, they just, most of them is probably a rather overstatement. Let's say some of them come into this like, okay, I have no idea what this kickoff call is about. I'm just here to be entertained and react to what you're saying. And and of course these kinds of meetings they just keep dragging because you don't know what they want. They have no idea why you're asking these questions, and it's just trying to communicate that you're all on the same page. And then once or twice a year, it happens that you have one of these meetings where someone said, I've made a list for us, I made an agenda, so we save time. And that's, I've had this last time with, it doesn't really matter. But the good thing is we had planned an hour's talk, and I thought, an hour's kickoff call to get all the technical details down and the look that the client wants and so on. An hour is pretty, I'm not sure if this suffices. And after 17 minutes, we finished the call. Everything was clear. All points had been addressed because it was clear for everyone what the agenda was, what the pain points were. And my God, this is so. If you don't know someone like this, and if you have to hold a lot of meetings, try to become this person. Everyone will love you because you're the one that speeds things up. And if there's if you plan an hour for a meeting and it's done after 30 minutes, everyone loves you. Right. So Stand Up Maths is a great channel, says Cursibu, and Frank says, I mean his second channel, not sure if that's the best one. Okay, so the other channel, so not the one that I subscribe to. Anyway, I think I should find it. But again, thank you for pointing me towards this. Right, I mentioned before when Martijn was still here, DOS game thingies. And if you remember a couple of weeks ago where I did this DOS adventure thing with the ACK, the Adventure Creation Kit, in DOS for DOS. And Frank, I think you said that you looked at the source code and that it was written in Pascal, probably Turbo Pascal. Oh, thank you for the link. I will have to subscribe to that. Stand Up Maths, 1.32 million subscribers. Sounds funny. Hope I can understand it. Math. Cool. Subscribe. Thank you. And you know what? This got me thinking. And I thought, you know what, Pascal? I've never really dabbled with Pascal. All I knew is that Turbo Pascal was what the cool kids were making their games with in DOS. And the real cool kids, of course, they were programming x86 assembler. But the cooler kids, at least they weren't trying to make graphics routines in BASIC as I did. So the thing was that I thought, okay, probably Turbo Pascal is just this huge low-level language that is not as low-level as assembly, but certainly something more like, I don't know, C or something. So long story short, this week I tried my hand at something in Turbo Pascal just to see if I can get it running. And I did get it running, and I thought, you know what? I like it, but first let's have some water, by the way. I like it. What I do not like is the colon equal signs assignment, but that's a different story. And I thought, okay, I like it, but if I wanted to make a game, there's no way in hell that I'm going to program it in Turbo Pascal in DOSBox essentially, because I cannot copy and paste from Windows easily to DOSBox. Also, there are certain known glitches with the Turbo Pascal installation that I had there, and so on and so forth. And so on and so forth. That's another programming joke. There you go. That's on me. I'm sorry. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice to be able to program Turbo Pascal games or Turbo Pascal software in Windows and then have it compile to DOS? And this was my rabbit hole for this week. And I bumped my head against this problem, and finally I got it to work 2 hours ago. It was in the cafe. So my Dropbox has synced, and hopefully it should also work here. But for if anyone else is interested in how to get this running, I will just recap all the steps, but also cut out everything that I tried that did not work. In the end, it's super simple, relatively. Not super simple, but relatively simple, because there was just one thing that constantly had me scratching my head, and yeah, I got around it. So the idea is write something in Windows that you can then run or compile in DOSBox. So for this to work, of course, you need some sort of Pascal, and of course there is free Pascal out there. Probably if you're into this or have heard of it, if you even have the slightest interest in Pascal, you probably have come across free Pascal. And the cool thing is you can see here the binaries pretty much for anything, for the ARM architecture, for the x86, down to the Power PC. Yeah, of course, you can have something that runs on the Nintendo Wii. Why not? Thank you, Cursey-Boo. So what I want, of course, is to compile to DOS. And for this, there is, where was it? The cross compiler, this one here. You want the Go32v2 DOS extender as it is. So what you get from this is a download. And I thought, yeah, just pop it somewhere in and just copy it, and all exe files there should work. No, this is an installation program, so you need to install it in DOSBox. And this is the first problem that I had, because I just booted up my good old regular DOSBox, tried to install it, and it needs to support long file names and DOS 5.0. And I think in good old vanilla DOSBox, this is not possible. So I bumped my head around against it. I tried various workarounds which all did not work to have it installed. I mean, I installed it anyway, get lots of files that could not be written and things that weren't copied. And of course, who would have guessed it was not possible to compile my first Hello World Pascal with this. So how did it get it to work? And the thing is DOSBox X, if anyone has heard of this. And I thought, I've never heard of this. And then I wanted to install it locally as most of my software I have as portable. So I can just have it in my Dropbox. And no matter on what computer I am, since the Dropbox is always mounted to the same drive letter, I just can double click anything and everything connects and works. So I got this DOSBox X and wanted to file it in my portables folder. And there already was a DOSBox X. And I thought, really? Who? Was I this? Yes, it was me. And last year, when we were playing the X-Files adventure game on Windows 95, this was running inside DOSBox X. So apparently I had it. So this is what you need, is the DOSBox X, because with DOSBox X, let me show you if I can find it, what the cool thing is that it provides you with. Oh God, where is it? Portable emulators, DOSBox X, there we go. So the cool thing about this DOSBox X is that you can say here which DOS version, reported DOS version do you want, and for the long file name support, this one here, that's the important thing. So with DOS 7.10 you have support for long file names, because this was, I think, with Windows 95 we had the introduction of long file names, and this is what this Pascal compiler expects. And once I had this, of course, then you can just mount it as it were and everything and install it. The zip file that you get from Free Pascal. Again, it's an installer. You install it somewhere because then it writes config files that are looking at exactly this folder and this file name and the file path position. So the next thing is, of course, I want Windows. I want VS Code, or by the way, I've switched over to VS Codium for various reasons. I want to use VS Codium to work on these games. How the hell do I get this to work? And this was another afternoon spent well. Hooray for Past Phil. Thank you. Past Phil is almost as unpredictable as Future Phil. Indeed. Indeed. So I never know that's the funny thing is I find a tool where I feel like, oh my God, if only I have had this tool back in the days. And then I dutifully file it. And of course, I have downloaded it 15 years ago and completely forgotten about it and never used it but once, for example. So we're here in good old VS Codium, which is VS Code, but liberated from all the shit that Microsoft is pulling, as I understand it. And this is my... Where do we have it? My Hello World. Let's have a look here at my Hello World Pascal game here, which is not a game. It's just drawing stars and congratulating you. And this is my Hello World Pascal game. So one thing that of course you need for this is an extension to have the syntax highlighting and completion and so on. That's not the biggest problem. The biggest problem was I want to hit F5 and want this to happen. And now I got it to happen. And this is the game. So we say, hello, adventurer. What is your name? Ashley. Your name is written in the stars, Ashley. And apparently it's not because there is only one dot and it should be a ASCII star background. Anyway, at least you see, it's working. It's compiling whatever is happening here. So, and how I did get it to work was here with using a custom task. And this took me the entire afternoon to figure this out. So essentially, whenever you hit F5, this task runs. And what does it do? I make it a bit larger so that you can follow along. So essentially, it just runs this command here. And this is, the link to the DOSBox X. And then you set, okay, long file names to true, because this is what we need. Then I set, I have here a configuration file for DOSBox. It's not working for some reason, so this is why I'm setting. So all these settings here, I could theoretically set in this one huge config file, but for some reason it's not working. So instead, I'm just setting these things individually. So we say, this is the config file, but if it's not working, long file names is true. We mount the current directory. Again, that is, no, wrong. The C drive, we mount the virtual drive that is running DOSBox X. This is where the entire thing is installed. So all the file paths that link to this Free Pascal compiler are relative to this folder here. So for example, there is a subfolder that is called, I don't know, PP for Pascal, and then there's bin. So everything is there from this perspective is why can't I? Oh, wrong layout. There we go. So everything is relative to this file path. So I mount this as my C drive and mount the current workspace folder as my P drive. And then I register again pp bin go32v2 in my path variable so that I can call FPC, the Free Pascal compiler, with my file that I hit F5 on from here, which outputs a log file. And then if there is no error, then it runs the generated exe file, then makes here a pause that I need to put or hit any key for it to close, and then it exits. And again, this took me until I got it working. This took me the entire afternoon. So I'm sharing this with you, and especially with future Phil, who might come across the very same problem and remembers that many years back, around his birthday in 2025, he had figured it out. And this is hello2.pass for Pascal. And here this log file is, I'm just piping out everything that the compiler in DOSBox would print into the DOSBox console. I'm just piping here into this log file. So which the good thing is, again, I have here highlighting. We can see, okay, we get certain warnings, but that's about it. So that is my attempts at programming Pascal, because again, I thought I want to do a DOS game and not a basic DOS game. I want to do a slightly advanced DOS game, and probably Pascal, Turbo Pascal might be something that I feel somewhat capable of doing. And I looked into how to load bitmap graphics, how to display bitmap graphics, how to interface with the Sound Blaster, with the OPL chip, and so on. So I've read a lot about it, but it took me, like I said, half a week until I got here everything that I wanted working. So past fill is almost as unpredictable as future fill, indeed. And Frank is lurking for a bit, all good. And Kersey said, hey to future fill. Thank you, Kersey. They also say, hello, future fill. I'm really sorry that you have to go through this again. It never changes. It's always the same thing. So what this actually should be doing is to draw random stars. And a star is either a dot, a period sign, or a plus sign in case there is a certain probability. So essentially what I'm doing is, in this, I'm just making the background blue, the text color white, clearing the screen, saying, hello, adventurer, what is your name? Asking the name, clearing the screen, and then I loop 100 times through this that calls the procedure make star with a random number from 0 to 8 at random screen width and screen height. So the thing here is this make star procedure is here. It takes this random number from 0 to 8, or I think 0 to 7, is it? Again, I'm not really sure what the ranges are. That's always the fun with new programming languages. There are certain peculiarities that you have to somehow figure out yourself. Anyway, it takes this integer that is just the star. So if it's equal or greater than 5, you write a plus. Otherwise, we write a dot. That's the thing. And the X and Y, those are not the coordinates on screen, not the pixel coordinates, but the columns and rows of the text mode, essentially. And one thing that I've learned the hard way is if something is less than 0, this go to YX, this is like in BASIC, you have to locate command. Essentially, this is just at what point, at what column and what row to position the cursor where you want to write text. So, and I realized that this is the problem. I just fixed my code here because that's the thing that I realized what was happening is, as you've seen, we only had 1 star or 2 stars, because whenever X or Y is less than 0 or greater than the screen height or screen width in columns, it clears the screen. Apparently that's what happens. So, and this is why I have here these safeguards in place. So first we go to whatever we just the clamped values essentially, and then let's run this again and see if we fixed it. So I'm not touching anything, and here again it runs, it opens DOSBox, compiles it, and I say hello, my name is hello, and now it works here with my beautiful star background. And this is baby's first Pascal steps. And again, I just want to share with you my joy that I got it to work. Kersey says, yeah, that looked like the bug. Indeed, once it's staring you right in the face. I mean, I go to X and Y, and afterwards, when I'm there, I'm doing all the checks and making sure, never using these again. So yeah, good old sequence error, it's called. Yay, says Kersey. Well, thank you, Kersey. This time I was able to fix the code myself. So if anyone is interested, for example, how to do, I don't know, graphics, the pixel graphics, well, first you have to switch to a different graphics mode. I think there are some simple assembler commands where it's just, load this value into this register at this address, and this changes the screen mode. I would, for example, go to 320 by 200 VGA, then load up a palette. And if you have an image, for example, a bitmap image, in the end, it's just, this is the byte. Every byte has the index of the color in the palette that it refers to. And essentially you just write this to the graphics buffer to a certain point in memory that the graphics card reads every frame, and essentially that's how you display an image. Of course, you have to run everything yourself, which images you display, where the images are. I would, for example, with images, probably you would read this file into a two-dimensional array for X and Y, and then maybe do some blitting against the background. For example, you can say, okay, if my color at this position is, I don't know, index 255 or index 0 in the palette, this means it's the transparent color, and you don't plot the pixel and instead just use whatever is already there, for example. So at least this would be the idea. Of course, doing this, like I said, I've just read about this in old posts and old how to make games with Pascal, because this has been my lecture, my reading enjoyment before going to bed every day. So this is how you would do that, because I've never done something like something as low level as this before. With Basic, there was this one program that could load and display PCX files. I had no idea how this worked. I just plopped it in there and said, okay, display PCX, this is the file. Do what you have to do. It was very slow, but it worked. And now thinking about, okay, doing page flipping perhaps, that's probably something that I feel like somewhat capable of. So I'm you know me, I have so many pet projects, and this would be interesting if I have some time. So at least the theoretical foundation is there. Frank says, I used to have to go back to a Pascal project every now and then back in the day. The most confusing thing is that in Pascal functions that do not take an argument also don't take brackets. So they look exactly this. So they look exactly the same as variables. Oh yeah, that's right. That's the thing. So if you say make star without properties, you just say make star, and yeah, you can't know if is this a variable or a function / procedure. Yeah, the other thing that I've learned is there's a difference between a function and a procedure, and the difference is that a function returns a value and a procedure does not. So, and as for the function that how it returns, usually you would say, okay, return and whatever the value is. This is how I would have expected it, and of course it does not work like this. This is Pascal after all. So for example, instead of going like integer function something, and then you have or in this case QXB or something. In Pascal, it works like this. So the function name is here. So in this case, this would be something. But then you have here, okay, what is your variable? The first variable is Q, and it is of type, let's say, integer. And the next one is of type, I think this is of type, let's say, text. And this is of type real. And instead of having here that your function returns an integer, you say a colon integer, because that's the return. And instead of, let's say, of course, if your function has variables, you have this var block in front where you define all your variables, the local variables. For example, let's say A is integer and B is integer, and those are your variables. And now let's begin and end. It automatically ended here. So essentially begin and end, those are your pointy brackets or wavy brackets or curly. There is curly brackets, and in there is your function body. So let's say A is A plus B. So you do the assignments, you probably have noticed, with this colon equals, and if you do some if checks, you noticed here, okay, I'm not doing any if checks, but if let's say x equals 0, you do it by having this equal signs once. Again, this feels a bit like pure basic, which also does it like this, because it has been drilled into my brain that you use two equal signs for a logical check and once for an assignment. And again, this I have to unlearn this. So once we have this here, you would think you just go return A. Does not work like this. Instead, you need to use the name of the function and assign it to the name of the function. So something is A. And this is how this function would return something. Frank, you're the Pascal coder. Please let me know if I misrepresented anything there. But I think at its heart, this is how you write functions there. And again, it took me a while to figure this out. Yeah, Frank, I see you've written a lot. The most confusing thing is, yeah, exactly the same as variables. For a procedure, it's fine as they don't make sense as a variable, but for functions, yeah, indeed. And yes, okay. Kersey, name colon type takes getting used to, but it's kind of nice syntax. That's the thing. When I first started out with it, I looked at it and thought, oh my God, this is so backwards. I will never get used to this. And after half an hour, I wouldn't say I have internalized it, but I've made my peace with it. So, and again, if you have variables that are used throughout, you plop them up here. So essentially the syntax is what is the name of your program or unit. Then what other units do you use? I think uses are just some includes, right? Then what variables you have, then you define your functions, and your main function, the proper function, you also write here with the begin. And instead of using begin and end, as you always have here with your procedure, where end ends with a semicolon, in your main body, your end ends here with a period, because that's the end, period. And again, took me way too long to figure this out. So this is why I'm sharing it with you. So maybe if any one of you are interested in writing Pascal, these are the differences at first glance. The other thing is that I haven't looked into, but for example, if you want to initialize arrays, let's say array is, I made a smiley, for example, from 0 to screen width or something. I think, no, that's a colon. It should be a semicolon. Is it 2 dots or 3 dots? I don't recall. But again, it's really something to get used to. And I think this is the most painful when you start out with a new programming language. It feels like what programming with PHP is all the time. With everything that you want, you have to have the documentation open. Okay, what is return type? What is the expected type? What error do we get back? Oh, we don't get any error back if this is not working. So it's as it is here, where I realized, okay, if you have random 8, this includes the number 0, or in this case, screen width. This all includes the number 0. And if screen width is exactly 0, apparently it starts counting the first column from 1, which feels so counterintuitive to me. But if this is 0, it clears the screen. And this is why, yeah, just took me a little bit of messing around with it. And I can't wait to figure out all the other gotchas that are there. What else have I missed there? Type name. Frank says, I was an occasional Pascal coder. I'm not sure I've done any in the past 20 years. Probably it won't leave you, I think. Andrew JK says, Python borrowed colon equals for inline assignment expressions. We call it the walrus operator, and it looks like it. Indeed, walrus operator. I like this. This is nice. Frank says, of course, the main thing about Pascal is that there's a good joke about its creator's name. Do you know about the call by value versus called by name? Oh yeah, called by reference. I think, yeah, I think I tried to tell this joke once and I completely butchered it, and you said it straight. But yeah, where some people are called by reference and other people are called by, I'm butchering it again. I'm sorry. You probably should not talk about it, but look it up. It's kind of it's where you go, you stroke your chin and go, that's funny. This is needed as background for this joke. Exactly. So I hope, Frank, you're typing out the joke before I'm trying to tell it again. And yeah, for example, here, just saw this. Do I always have to home the cursor back to 1/1 or 1,1? Because let's comment this out. The good thing about apparently this version of Pascal is that you can do comments like this. Because the first time I did this in Turbo Pascal in DOS, it said syntax error. And I thought, what? I'm trying to make a comment. And then I tried this syntax and I tried this syntax. And turns out, yeah, you do it in curly brackets. Those are comments. It feels so wrong. Kersey, oh yeah, Niklaus Wirth has, I believe, said it himself that Europeans tend to call him by name and Americans call him by value. Thank you. Yeah, I feel that is so clever. Kersey says, at least this isn't C like int star pointer p. Oh God, yeah. Kersey, didn't you double with C again, or am I confusing you with someone else? But yeah, programming in C. I always feel like with C and C++, I have this very respectful distance to people programming in these languages, because I probably could never. I mean, I can wrap my head around pointers and memory management and so on, but it feels like, oh my God, this must be such a hassle. But then again, I mean, you're very, very close to the metal and can really control what is going on and can write really fast things because it doesn't have to go through reams and reams and reams of abstractions first to reach what's going on. I think someone timed how fast a Commodore 64, if you hit something on your keyboard, how long it takes to show up on the screen, and how long it takes when you type something in your keyboard on a modern computer in Chrome. And I think it has to go through like 1,000 or millions of lines of code are being touched before this one letter shows up in your Chrome search bar. And it feels like probably, yeah, this is the difference, I think, between C and something like, I don't know, JavaScript. As in Americans pronounce his name Worth. Yeah, that's Worth and Wirth. Yeah, that's just clever, because this works only in this context, but it's perfect for this context. Frank says you can also use star and star really instead of the curly brackets. This is because in the early days of Pascal, character sets were much less standardized, and it was designed to be usable on computers or keyboards or teletypes that didn't have the curly brackets. Interesting. And Kersey says, I've done C, C++ before, don't miss them very much versus other low-level languages. What is your favorite low-level language then? Okay, not star, but parentheses star, right? Yeah, it works. And it looks a little like me when I'm trying to read this. Thank you for sharing. That's cool. And apparently it's still supported. And also this kind of comment is supported, but not the multi-line comments. I think for this I have to go old school again. Thank you for sharing. Learning so much again. Awesome. Careful with that, says Frank. C and C++ is undefined. Oh no. Oh dear, undefined. That's the next thing. Yeah, I can't wait to run into certain low-level errors. Kersey says, well, that's one reason to avoid it. That //1 feels like an extension by modern compile. It probably is, because I feel like in so many languages, this on the num block, this is what your pinky finger is for, is to start a inline comment, I feel. So probably they added it, because I don't think there is any syntax in Pascal that it would clash with. So I think this is why it was added. I mean, we can try and see if this does something. Let's say x is 10. Oh, still have the caps lock active. So hit F5, it launches DOSBox, it compiles it, and yeah, it works. If X would have been hard-coded, we would have here this one column of stars, which we do not have. Cool. So apparently this works. I didn't get any errors. Let's check. Just that I'm using certain local variables, or am not using some local variables. Awesome. I like this. Z says, I did one project in C when I was learning it, and it broke me so bad I never touched C again. You see, that's the same thing how it happened with me. I think I told the story before, by the way. Cheers. when I was my first year in university after graduating. And I didn't know what to study. And so in my hometown, I inscribed for Americanistics and Anglistics and art history. But of course, I also dabbled in neurosciences and philosophy. And the other thing was, half across the city, there was the University of the Technical University of Graz, and they had introduction to computer science. So I thought, oh, this kind of sounds interesting. So I just plopped myself there for the introductory courses. And there, of course, also was an introduction to the language C and C++ with this huge book. But the good thing is it was also available as digital file. I mean, wow, back then in 2001, this really was something unheard of. But of course, they were cutting edge after all, computer science and so on. And this is also where I discovered the LaTeX language, because the entire book was done in LaTeX. And I thought, oh my God, this is amazing. I don't have to worry about layout and Word that scatters my pictures around. Everyone's been there. So I'm sitting there in this course, in this class, with my notebook, and all the other people had their notebooks, and I thought, that's curious. Everyone is on their command line. No, everyone was writing down the stuff in Emacs or some other hardcore Linux text editor, while I was there sitting with my super vivid and blue-green Windows XP default background with a super big blue plastic looking window title bars and window frames, and I was typing everything down in Microsoft Word, and people made fun of me there, and I didn't quite understand what they were saying about me, but I felt like, yeah, I'm someone is being condescending towards me, and I thought I will show them by being the best C programmer there was. And as soon as I had to write my first unit test, again, this broke me. I had, with so many things, I had no idea what they were talking about. I also said it before, when they were talking about Turing machines, and I thought about touring cars. So instead, I thought, why are we talking about rally cars all of a sudden? So yeah, it was... Yeah, I didn't attend any more lectures thereafter, but I still have the PDF of and I think even the LaTeX source code of the introduction to C and C++. And again, the unit test, whatever this is, even it broke me. Kirsty says D and Rust are pretty neat, probably because D is one step beyond C. I have never looked into either of them, but Mike Kaspersek, I think, started dabbling with Rust. DC says, I did one project in C, yeah, and when it was learning it, and it broke me that I never touched C again. And Frank says, C and C++ are both defined, but the specific expression C divided by C++ is not. Yeah, this post increment, right, is... with these kinds of increments, I hardly use them in longer expressions, because I'm not sure with many languages at what point it's being evaluated. I mean, of course, you have the plus in front, which means, okay, it gets first incremented and then, but not with all languages. And for the longest time, what was it? Was it pure basic? Some language that was not C, of course. And since then, I've always grown wary and put these kinds of increments or decrements most of the time on their own line, just because I'm not sure when it's being evaluated. I have a C program open as we speak, says Frank. I'll share one line from it here. Okay, case 8. This is C and a toy project. Of course, we need some deliberate fall through. Okay, dear. Deliberate fall through. Fun. Rust is nice, says Venereal Disease. I really appreciate how good a resource the official book is. And yeah, Frank, also clarity wins over brevity. Indeed, this is, again, when you start out programming and feel like, yeah, I'm such a cool programmer, hacker, dude. I can write everything in just one line. You probably can. And I can make it even, I can optimize this one line because this is used later, so I can use just the expression. Yes, you probably can. But coming back to this project in 2 weeks or 2 months, we'll have this one massive line where you have no idea what it is actually doing, and untangling your super cool hackery lead programming constructions there takes you probably, this untangling takes you much longer than writing everything in like 15 very, very straightforward, simple lines. And again, I feel like with many things, of course, if you're not doing certain things that run like thousands of times or millions of times per frame, like plotting pixels or something, you don't have to optimize the ever-living daylights out of something if it means that the code is utterly illegible to you. It always comes down to, I'm writing programs for other people to look at it. Everything else the compiler should take care of. But if I look at something like here, I can clearly see what this is doing here. And if I try to squeeze it into one line and then even have some kind of nesting and so on, it becomes, as Frank said, illegible, and in the end you pay for it with your time that it takes you as a human to parse these things. The compiler doesn't care. And of course there are certain issues or certain let's say not events, opportunities where of course it makes absolutely sense to get the most bang for the buck. Like I say, some low level pixel plotting things, or again things that need to happen lots of time. Those of course you want to optimize, but in the end, legibility. I always leave when I refactor some code where it's like this long block of code where I feel like, yeah, I can write this shorter, but I still, bumping the microphone, sorry, I still leave most of the time, at least for 2 more saves of the same file, 2 more versions, I leave in the big old code block just in case that I need to come back to, because I was feeling a little bit too smart when I was refactoring it. Anyway, I'm completely off the rails again. Yeah, if you want to look at my C program, I just uploaded it to Discord. I'm not sure if I understand it, but since today is a learning opportunity for me, I can probably look it up. Oh, it's not. Discord is just running on my phone. This is what I got. By the way, a shout out while I'm starting here Discord, a shout out to good old F-Droid. If you have never heard of it, F-Droid is like an open source Play Store version, and it feels like a breath of fresh air, because again, you have pretty much all apps that you want, apart, of course, unless you're into, I don't know, you want the Netflix app or the, I don't know, the shopping channel app or something. But if you need something that is like what do we have here? A Fossify calendar or a Telegram fork, or play or create your own platformer levels, or Thunderbird. And the cool thing is, if you look at something, it will, or open it up, it will tell you certain things that you might like or not like. For example, where it says, things you probably do not like about this is it needs these kinds of permissions and it's not quite sure why. Or you can click here and support them. And again, it feels a little bit wrong to do some side loading. I'm just trying to see if I can find an example for this, but it has brought back the joy of browsing just an app store and seeing, okay, this looks nice. What is this about? Because with the Play Store, it always feels like everyone is just trying to sell your data to someone else, or trying to stuff you with ads, or tries to push you into a subscription, or all of the above. And again, here it feels like there is a joy of just experimenting. And for example, here it lists the links for the license, sometimes even the source code, the changelog, and it shows you what permissions it needs, and again why you don't want to like it, because it says, for example, stores data on a server that is outside of your country or something. Right. As a specific challenge, yes, says, I like the competitive code golf people, they're crazy. In that as a specific challenge. For me, it feels like a bit like code Sudoku. Indeed, as a specific mental challenge, it's like the regular expression advent calendar that I've seen somewhere. It's like, I don't think have much enjoyment when I'm just trying to solve a regular expression for nothing. It's the same thing with my math class back then. I don't care if x is 1 or x is 20 million or x is 0.0008. I don't need x for anything. This is just a random, absolutely synthetic example of nothing. But as soon as you need x for your platformer level, and you have to not calculate the things yourself, but work on the formulas, on the algorithms, suddenly it has a value. And then it becomes much more fun and interesting. And the same thing with these kinds of code goal things. When I want to solve a specific certain thing that I will need later as a stepping stone for something else, suddenly it's much more fun. This is personally, people always think, hey, you like programming, so you probably love Sudoku and other logic riddles. Yeah, I have here an entire book that is called Murdle, that is just like Wordle and some other logic puzzles, but it's all about murders. And yeah, the guy who was not wearing the tall hat with the blue shoes, that is a cousin of the one with the orange vest, has killed someone not with a knife. And then, of course, you have to find the logical exclusions and so on and so forth. It was fun for once, but again, it's like, if I want these kinds of puzzles, I just go back to programming, because then I have exactly these kinds of puzzles. Again, debugging, you are both, actually you're three things. You are the victim, you are the detective, and you are the perpetrator. So that's coding Myrtle. So let me find now that Discord is open. Under projects, I would assume, there we go. Oh, this is your chess game. Let's open this up with Notepad, and it should have the context syntax highlighting. Yes, there we go. So how many lines of code am I looking at? Oh, it's very short. It's just 1,700. And one thing that what already I like about your programming style is that you start curly brackets on new lines. I don't know why some people get so emotional about it, but I'm probably one of them, because to me, when I find some code or copy some code from Stack Overflow, we've all been there, that look like this, the first thing I have to do is just format it to this. That for me, always brackets start on a new line and also end a new line, and even an else has its own line. I'm exactly in the same coding, what's the word? Not structure, you know what I mean, style of doing things as you. This is nice. New segment, code review with Phil. Yeah, we've had the code review of my Game Maker games as videos before, after Ludum Dare. So yeah, usually we have a code review of my game when I'm through with playing your games. I think this has fallen to the wayside a little bit, because my code is really nothing where I don't think people can learn a lot from it. Frank says, I do have opinions about curly bracket placement. Also, if the if gets curly brackets, so does the else, and vice versa. Exactly, as you said it. When there's one-liner, when you say if something and else, you cannot do something else, right? So if you do this, then both things need to be within brackets, right? And you said this, I think, a couple of streams back, and I realized that's also what I should be doing more. So thank you for streamlining somewhat my code typing. Okay, looks like, okay, enum piece type, this I understand. Okay, piece symbols, those look to be, is this a two-dimensional, no, that's a pointer to a two-dimensional array of Unicode characters, I would assume, for, yeah, the piece, the chess piece symbols. Then I have no idea what this, oh, rook. Is this for rook, knight, bishop, queen? Okay, so you're storing the white pieces and the black pieces. Okay, the white pieces are uppercase, the black pieces are lower. You know what? This makes a lot of sense. That's cool. And you have the columns and in caps and in rows. And this must be the playing field. So far, so good. Unsigned int. Okay, understand this. Understand this. This I do not understand. Is this a pointer to a pointer in the history? Frank says that gobbledygook on lines 23 and 24 is explicit. Yeah, UTF, of course, for chess pieces in Unicode. Well, these are the names for lookup, and that upper lowercase seems to be conventional. Okay, this again makes a lot of sense. Since I never really dabble with chess. I mean, I played some what's a derogatory term for someone thinking they're playing chess just because they know the rules? some crap chess, let's call it, against some friends back then. But it was like, yeah, okay, how far can we play chess in like 13 minutes or 5 minutes or something? So it was not a lot of thinking, just moving the first piece that you get your hand on. I mean, it was fun. It was utter chaos. So arrays, I understand. Type definitions, I'm somewhat, I think I understand them. Oh, happy birthday, says Fadol. Thank you so much for dropping by. I'm just looking at Frank's chess program in C. And it's been a while since I've seen C code or tried to understand C code. So I'm just scrubbing through it and commenting on it. And people who know what's going on probably can have fun with my utter puzzlement at what is going on here. But I mean, Frank, this is all very well commented. Not counting en passant, this is to check for check. Check for check. Makes sense. Yeah. Checks out, I would say. Yes, a pointer to a pointer indeed. Okay, so we're talking about these two asterisks. It's to be used as an array of strings, and while arrays and pointers in C are distinct in some subtle ways, in practice you can kind of treat them as the same. Okay, so we're already in some advanced territory here, or to quote, what was it? J. Arnold from Jurassic Park. No, you cannot see the Jurassic Park logo behind me. What is this kind of hacker shit? C code. Yeah, that's right. Why do, what was it? JavaScript programmers all have glasses because they don't C#. But then again, it's hard to get your C# code on web, compiled to web. YNOC says, wow, 10-year stream last week and birthday stream this week. Yeah, I've said it before. This has been turned into a whole party channel. So next week, probably we're going to Ibiza and just go around and club. I think this just fits into my newly found enjoyment of the midlife crisis that I'm having. No, just kidding. I think I'm rather established in my quirks already. I'm not getting a boat. Okay, not really advanced as Frank. I'm just pointing out that advanced things exist. And if I say that arrays and pointers are interchangeable, some C pattern will throw things. Yeah, I mean, in the end, you can always be more precise. But at a certain point, especially when teaching things, you tell people, okay, this is for the most part the same for now, treat it as exactly the same, and we will get to the differences when they arise, I think. Dude. Okay, Frank found the bug. Good, so you don't have to explain your code to me because I'm your little rubber ducky. So, you're running your min-max. Apparently, is this not part of some sort of standard library? Because I feel, what was it with JavaScript or something where I also have, it feels like I've coded a clamping function like 50 times already at this point. And with every new project, it's not that I prepare myself a library that I can reuse with all these kinds of things like, yeah, make the first letter in this string uppercase, or check if it's uppercase, or set this value in the array, but only if it's undefined or if it's false, and so on. It feels like I've written these kinds of helpers hundreds of times almost. Fedor says, a year ago I was finishing up my bootcamp, which led me from computer illiterate to participating in Ludum Dara 56. Oh, congratulations! You played our B infinite clicker with a cute dance reward. Oh yes, I remember the dance animation. And it was so meaningful. Now I'm at day one of an intensive Grand Abbott 3D modeling course, and I'm just really hyped and wanted to say thank you. Oh, thank you for sharing. While I may have gotten here without you, having such a great first jam experience has made it easy to keep with it. So yeah, I appreciate you and Tism. I have no idea. Talk you so. Oh, thank you so much. See, I'm old. Yeah, again, thank you for sharing and for dropping by. I'm glad that you had such a great experience with jamming and that you haven't been turned away from making games, because I feel like the entire Ludum Dare community can be super wholesome and super friendly. I mean, I think over the years maybe we had one or two people that were somewhat unwholesome, I would say, but they have vanished, and only the good people so far have stayed with it, I feel like. So I'm very happy that, again, yeah, that you still enjoy this, and thank you for sharing and dropping by. So yeah, all the best for your future endeavors. Frank says, it might be in some header, I forgot, and I couldn't be bothered looking it up. Yeah, this right, same thing. I've did this somewhere, but yeah. They're often done as macros, but then you have to be careful with double evaluate. Oh God, this already sounds like not fun. Oh dear. Min and max macros can get hairy. There was a case last year in the Linux kernel, oh no, where the very fancy min and max macros they have could expand to 70 megabytes of code. How is this? I mean, I ask now, how is this possible? And probably, I don't know, Computer File already has made a video about how exactly something like this is possible. Fatal says, that's wonderful to hear. And thank you for sharing your story. And again, that you're still enjoying making games. And yeah, all the best. And please keep us posted and hopefully you partake in the next Ludum Dare. I think it's just around the corner. Oh, right. Yeah, that's the thing. With next Ludum Dare, Frank, right? We talked about collaboration. I realized today that I cannot partake this time because I'm in Graz at the Game Dev Days Graz, and it's exactly the same weekend as the Ludum Dare is. So I think I will instead try some other game jam thereafter, probably the DOS game jam in November. But yeah, I still have to tell Balimar. But yeah, today I found it out that, oh shoot, I already have plans for this. So I'm really sorry that I didn't understand it before that this was the exact same date. That yeah, I'm sorry. DC says, watching Phil work through abbreviations is my favorite random encounter of these streams. Thank you. Tism, my friend, tism. Of course, those 70 megabytes when then compiled to a few instructions, but it did have a massive effect on compilation. I mean, 70 megabytes of code, of source code. That's. I mean, I knew of text editors who had problems with log files that were like 50 or 15 megabytes. So yeah, curses C macros. Oh, right. Frank says, okay, next time maybe I'll tell him. Good. Yeah. Static void. I understand that this is a function, and you have some loops here for R, for C. This is not a pointer, right? This is a multiplication. This I understand. This I do not understand what's going on here. Pawn move map. Well, yeah, again, this is beyond me. I see, okay, is this some sort of bitwise operation? Are you AND? Is this an AND and or something? Bitwise operations. I love good old bitwise operations, but it takes me so long to parse them in my head to get there, like bit shifting, when most of the time I do this with color values when I have something, yeah, this is a hex number, and I just need to, for example, it comes in BRG, blue, green, red, and not RGB. So I need to, with GameMaker, I need to do some bit shifting there. And it always takes me surprisingly long to figure out, okay, I need to shift it there, then use the mask with this, and then combine them again, because the first time I wanted to combine my bit shifted values, I just used additions, which did not quite work. But yeah, this is how you learn. Frank, also sorry for all the weird bit manipulation in there. Not doing that makes it 5 times slower. Yeah, I would assume this is why you do it, right? Kersey says, no comments. This code is obvious by itself, says Frank. Apparently it is. Not for me, but for itself. That's at least good. Okay, distance get as a bitmap. I think with bitmaps, you're not talking about image bitmaps, but maps of bits. So, which of course are images, but still. Oh, look at this. I understand this. We're printing something here on screen. Oh yeah, this is the playing field, right? And we have here some Unicode values, I would assume. Okay, putting things on screen, this I understand, I think. DC says, was anyone put at the end of one of Linus's fiery forum posts for this? I have no idea what we're talking about now. Yeah, ask Phil if he agrees. I totally agree that the code was written for itself. Perfect. Probably, I mean, I don't know a lot about C, and I don't know. Do I know less about C or chess? I mean, both starts with a C, so chances are pretty high that I have no idea about either. But look at this. This I understand. We're drawing the bottom part of it. It reminds me a little bit of the Tetris game that I made. Set piece. Move T is of type pointer to B. Column, row, side, T. Okay, so those are data types. Okay, bitboards. No idea what's going on here. It's probably just trying to see when you have a seal that you've taught how to juggle with balls in spheres, and the seal is so happy that it can juggle, and then you throw it a cube and it just looks at you like this. So what? No, and it probably is like me when I'm looking at code that I don't understand. It's like this. So okay, this is a string. I understand. Okay, we have a while loop and a switch here. Okay, switch. I understand. I understand this comment. Is this correct? That's also I like about switch statements is that you have a default case. And the default case is just a printf, or in this case, fprintf, where it says, this should never happen. And then you launch it for the first time, and your console is just lines upon lines of, this should never happen, or this code should never run. And you go like, how is this possible? And I think this is what assertions are for, right? If I'm not mistaken, we can just skip this. We should be at the end of the row. This is C in the toy project. Of course, we need some deliberate fall through. Yeah, that's the line, right? That's the line you mentioned. Okay, /033 #6 sets double width so everything looks square. Oh, this makes sense because yeah, in the console, right, the letters are usually 1 to 2. Those are NCVT100 escape codes. Okay, yeah, these escape codes. God, I mean, I love them when you can use them to make ASCII art all colorful and use all at least the CGA, the text colors in your console, but it's completely illegible. As soon as you have like 2 or 3 of these control characters in there, it's like you cannot read this anymore. I mean, they're kind of image bitmaps, okay, 8x8 images that represent some part of board state or the places a piece can go if it's in a specific place. I mean, with computers, since everything is noughts and zeros, as they say, you can interpret it as an image, as sound, right? It's just fluid. Okay, so it sets the double width. It just so happens that modern CPUs easily handle 64 bits at a time. The chessboard has 64, did I say 46? I mean 64 bits and 64 squares. Okay, this is very handy. I think this, okay, hot take, 64 bits were made possible because people liked to simulate chessboards easier. Sounds right until you start to think about it, but by then I'm already gone. So this is your next hot take for probably one of your cool coder parties that you frequent is when you can tell people, you know, it's 64 bits because then a chessboard is 8x8 and this makes it much easier to do chess with it. Also, I invite you to my IPO of my crypto coin. Almost certainly. Oh, line upon line. Some of these functions can run 200 million times for a single move, so I have to debug line. Okay, oh God. 200 million times. Yeah, I mean, it's a chessboard, and for every piece and projecting into the future. Yeah, I mean, I know what you're talking about. I have this at a much lower state. Is like when something happens like 60 times a second. So once for each frame. And for example, you do like collisions on a tile map, and you have like 8 collisions that you want to check. And suddenly you have 8 times 60 lines per 1 second showing up in your console. And suddenly, instead of fixing the error, you write a way for you to debug better in the terminal. And you feel like, I'm getting no work done. I'm just trying to make finding the error easier. But I mean, in the end, it all contributes, right? FEN is an interchange format for board state. This function reads that format so I can get board states from website and the like. Okay, this I can get behind. As I think we've had before, in some streams, I like coming up with custom file formats or parsing file formats or interpreting file formats. I mean, if you recall my little fiction blog, to jog your memory, open folder, where is it? Projects, programming, web programming, microfiction. There it is. Is it? I said there it is, but is it really there? So yeah, with this I have also my custom text format, this PXP, right, where we have here this header and then the actual text. But also here in microfiction, where is it? It's the stories. We should be here in the config.pxp. Yeah, I'm also using this here as my, I just misclicked it, here as my config format, where I can have here the page title as HTML or the page header. I mean, I could just use JSON. Why not use just JSON or an XML and make it so much easier? But for this, I had to write a parser. And the reason is because I had fun writing that parser, despite all the grief that it gave me until it worked. And I had so many freezes because I'm using a while loop or nested while loops, which is also bad. So while I'm using while loops, yeah. And again, for some reason, it always feels like this is utterly unnecessary, but still I like it. And so probably this is also the good thing about reading in an existing format. Again, I like this way of, this feeling of mastery, so to speak. So, okay, this is a standard, this is a file format, and I can read this file format with my program and can produce these kinds of files. I don't know, this is the small enjoyments. And of course, it makes sense for you because it's a chess engine and you want to make things getting in there much easier than having, I don't know, to type everything out as constants or something when you come across something. Very cool. Generate moves, clean up moves under move T to clean. Static enum piece type, get piece type for, okay, this I can almost understand. So if the bitboard is of type rook, then it's a rook. Okay. Thank you for redeeming Unicorn, Cursibu. DC says, actually, they designed the chessboard so that it would be perfectly representable in bits at some point in the future. How thoughtful of the people of the past were. It's indeed, it's 8x8. I mean, you can't get any more elegant in our binary world than yeah, 8x8. This is actually very, very nice of whoever came up with this game and this amount of fields or tiles. I mean, what if they would have made chess with, I don't know, 17 by 11 tiles? This probably would not make people happy. Kersey said, I invested in unicorn flakes already. No new coins, please. Oh dear. You already invested with the unicorn flakes. I hope that the course just went to the moon and beyond. Yeah, I'm making fun of crypto bros is a pastime of mine. John Chess knew what's up. Or did John Chess invent the game? in 1437, John Chess woke up and thought, I want to make a game with my name on it. And people would say, but why would you like to call the game John? Frank says, good news, I managed to build a Windows version that may or may not work. Sounds a bit like Ludum Dare, in a sense. Something that may or may not work on different platforms. So yeah, I'm really sorry that I probably will not understand much more of what is going on here. But I like how structured your code is. I really like it. And also with your comments there, stop when we reach our own piece. Makes sense because this is nested and we have some if checks here. I mean, it's very legible on a layout wise. It's also well documented. I like how you visually structure your code with the indenting and everything. It's exactly how I do things. Probably this is why I feel very at home at your code, in your code. I don't know what's going on, but it's very pleasing to look at. I can appreciate your code on a pure aesthetic level, I would say. And upload it to Discord if you want to try. I can try it, but I have no idea how to work chess or how. So if you can guide me through how to interface with this, because I mean I would just double click it right now and it might close. Okay, so here we have maybe some things here. Some issues here. So I see here the control sequences for the chessboard, but apparently it looks like some code page error here, because those are the double frame, right? So yeah, the escape codes didn't work at all. White moved to 20 wild moves. Well, then I say, let's say F1. 1F. I have no idea how to play chess, so a good start. I mean, it's working. It runs. It's not crashing. This looks like a chessboard or a checkered flag, so it could also be maybe a race car game. Okay, try E2, E4. E2, E4. Oh, look at this. Something happened. Is this the game of life? Again, yeah, the control characters, the Unicode representations do not work at all. But after all, I mean, this is Windows. They're always doing their own thing. Type help for help. Help. Okay, this is, again, I love me a good help. This is when I'm doing command line programs. I think the first thing that I also write is the help the help screen, and then I start implementing the commands or the parameters as I had written in my help file. Actually, no, it's not the escape codes. Well, not all of them. It's the Unicode characters. Exactly, yeah. Because the escape codes, I mean, they work. We have here the different colors and the double width. This all seems to work. It's the Unicode characters because, yeah, again, this looks to be this. What is it? Delta O with an accent and AE. I think this is just the double pipe character. Evil points prints the raw evaluation. Evil is 0. Okay, good. So Stack Overflow, UTF encoding in CHCP. I mean, since I just double clicked it, write file, so system-wide code page. I mean, I also have some batch files. For example, when I'm doing video encoding, and there I already have something coded up. Let me see if I can find it. There we go. Rep video lossless ABC, because in there I have something here like this where I'm setting the code page. So maybe this might fix it. So making here a new batch file. So I'm setting the code page and then just running F. What's it called? fchess. Fchess. And then we pause afterwards. And let's try. No, this is the same thing again. Let's try this. Aha. There we go. Look at this. This looks much better. Not perfect, but much better. Very cool. Oh, that's the gamma. Yeah, not the delta. Yeah, with uppercase Greek letters. Yeah, I'm a little bit. I mean, I know Cyrillic letters quite good, I think, but I mean, Greek letters aren't that far off from Cyrillic letters. So yeah, even cooler than delta, indeed. Anyway, not too important. This doesn't have to run on your machine. Okay, it doesn't do the background color things probably, but still, I mean, we're getting closer, definitely. I mean, now it looks like a chessboard. I'm at 85 to 90% sure that it's not a racing car game. I cannot be 100% sure, but yeah, as for the control characters, it kind of looks right-ish. Yeah, the code page thing, right, with Windows. This, again, has been a staple of my existence, because here you see in my batch files here when I'm doing video encodings, yeah, because the thing is, in my file names, I like to have typographically correct apostrophes. And again, instead of just not using them, I jumped through some hoops in the hopes to get it working. And I got it working, and it was here with the CHCP code page thing. So yeah, a different CMD program could work better. You mean like something like PowerShell, perhaps? Dear, do I have PowerShell somewhere? For some reason, I don't like PowerShell. It should come pre-packaged with a bespoke CMD. Yeah, you know what? Exactly, that's the thing. You have your own terminal renderer that ships with your game. And that has 20 times more lines of code than the actual chess engine. This would be funny. And probably not so far off from the truth. Frank says, I mean, it's a toy project. It won't come packaged in any way. I mean, for now, you never know how toy projects go. The worst thing that you can do is something where you feel like, okay, this is forever going to be a toy project, right up until the moment that it isn't, and then you just start to scramble. I mean, it's almost as bad as starting a toy project, but putting in everything just in case you want to, I don't know, package it, and okay, off the top of my head, I can't think of something that you want to put in there. Maybe hooks for some big retail store database that you can provide them with the necessary, I don't know, SKU numbers. I don't know. Anyway. YNC says, so Frank, when are you adding microtransactions and loot boxes? Exactly. It wouldn't be chess if there aren't any microtransactions in there. I mean, then it's no proper game. Chess MD, where you need to take 3 pawns to run your command. Okay, this reminds me of someone who said, where was this? It's been a while that I've heard it, of a French head waiter program that had a head waiter icon that has you wait 45 minutes for your file that you requested. YNC says, I can't have fun if I can't spend my entire paycheck on skins. Yeah, I mean, we're joking about it, but really that's the sad state of affairs where I think I've reposted this also, where someone said, you know what, are you really having fun with the game? Intrinsically with the game, with just doing the game, or all the gamified environment things that keep you hooked. Like, okay, you have to play 3 more games, no matter if you lose them or win them, but three more games, because then you get one rank up the participation ladder, which fills the next bar for your unlocks of other skins and so on and so forth. And when you for example, what was it? Overwatch, I think was the example given, right? Where you have so many systems that are on top of each other, and none of them really have to do anything with the actual gameplay that you're doing, like running and shooting pixels in the head, essentially. And as soon as you play a game just to fill all up those bars, or to have some sort of advancement in those bars, is it really fun to play the game, or is it just this gratification that you get when a new, I don't know, trophy pops up? Because I, for myself, know that I'm very prone to some sort of any kind of streaks and badges and something, and I really feel like, I mean, I'm having this Garmin watch, And again, I'm not really that sportive, but I'm sportive enough. I feel like, okay, so I have now a streak of getting my steps in for 2 weeks now, and I get a big what was it? A big score bonus if I keep going and to fill 60 days of getting my steps in every day. And I didn't want to, but I still did. And after 60 days, I proclaimed that I would never walk ever again and always drive somewhere. So was it really good for my health that I did this, or would it have been more healthy if I just walked more without this incentive? I don't know. But either way, I feel like it has come to my not so much attention, but yeah, when it has a certain stink to it, those kinds of games, right? With all these gratifications spiraling on top of something that is not really that much fun. So yeah, whenever I see something like this, I just recoil, because I know I want something else from my games apart from just being, crack. Anyway, Frank says, I had to disable 2 things to get it to build with min-GW, printing the elapsed time at the end of per move and the slight randomness that gets added to the move evaluations to make it slightly non-deterministic when it thinks multiple moves are equivalent. Oh, indeed. Interesting. Both should be easy to solve properly, but I didn't bother for now. Is this determinism in a chess engine? You said you made it non-deterministic. Is this a thing? Is this important? Is this just for flavor? I have no idea. For those who don't know what this determinism thing is, essentially if you have a random value that is really random every time you launch the program. So you're not using a certain seed when with this seed all random values are reproducible, but it's just random, right? I think that's the thing, because probably you might ask, why is this necessary? And the first thing that always comes to my mind is the Doom WAD games, or with the first Doom. There was this option that you could record your gameplay, but of course this was at a time where video recording while you're playing a game on your 386 was utterly impossible. So instead what was being recorded was just the keys you pressed at what time in the level, right? And of course, if there was too much non-determinism or any kind of non-determinism in there, for example, when you hit a demon and the damage is just a random value between, let's say, 2 and 10, and then of course in the playback sometimes it would be 2, and sometimes you wouldn't have killed the enemy, and suddenly this would be out of sync with what actually happened. So you want to be this, in this case, Doom 100% deterministic, that you can say, okay, when I'm starting this level with this random number generator, no matter on what machine this is running on, it will always run at the same speed, the same things will happen at the same time, so that everything is exactly deterministic, so to speak. Frank says, fancy chess engine will not often find 2 positions equivalent, but a naive one like this. Okay, this makes sense. And if I don't add randomness, it will always pick exactly the same option in such cases, which is a bit boring and unpredictable. I get it. Talking about artificial intelligence, and not the one that's in the news right now, but good old-fashioned games AI. This is also, I have listened to many GDC talks over the years regarding this, and the learning of this is it doesn't have to be too intelligent, and oftentimes it's much better that in, let's say, 15% of the cases, or make this 5% of the cases, what your computer opponent is doing is completely random. Not often, just sometimes, because usually this means that players feel like, okay, now they're trying a complete different strategy now. I have to adapt. And suddenly you read into the thing more intelligence than there actually is, just because of something random that happened. And I always think of this when I do something, I just change random variables because I don't know what I'm doing anymore because I'm so tired. And suddenly it works and it feels like this. I'm just doing things randomly, but for an onlooker, it looks like inspired, a gifted move or something. Yeah, and the other thing about artificial intelligence, it appears only as intelligent as what players can see. There was this example of a real-time strategy game where the AI was really good and always beat human players. And what do you think as a human player when the AI is too good? It probably cheats. I mean, you can't see it through the fog of war and suddenly you get just overran from 3 sides. It's probably cheating, right? So in the end, it always comes down to, okay, the observable actions that the opponents take. So for example, if you, in a shooter, if you hunker down and suddenly the enemies try to flank you and throw grenades, this feels much more intelligent than when they, I don't know, retreat and wait or try to ambush you later on because you don't see it. You don't see this. Anyway, this was my little rant and utter tangent as well. Right. YNOC says to Frank, how long did it take for you to build this game/toy? And Frank says, I started 12 days ago, apparently. I've been spending a lot of free time on it. I know this so much. Frank, you and me, same page. I mean, Pascal running from VS Code. Why? Just because I want to. Kersey says, wait, AI that looks a lot smarter than it really is? Definitely not like LLMs. Exactly, because they look as dumb as they are. YNC says, nice, it's looking really good. Yeah, I mean, again, to me, in 12 years, I wouldn't have come up with this code. So again, I'm really sorry that, like I said, I can't appreciate your code on a functional basis, but only from a aesthetic one. But it's very cool that you write your own chess engine just for the fun of it. It's probably like I do the recreation of the Knight Rider theme just because I thought. And yeah, talking about recreations of Knight Rider, my God, this has, I can. If you follow me in the socials, you probably have seen it, but I can show it to you as well. I don't know why, but I thought it would be nice to recreate the Knight Rider titles because there is, I mean, we've already had this before with, there we go. When you want to recreate something, how you think it works and how in the end it actually looks like. And how it works. So for example, here, this simple thing of just fading out the title. When I play to you, it looks kind of, yeah, this was shot on film. This looks just like your usual regular fade out. But if I show you the comparison, when I do compare this with the classic fade out, just from 100% opacity to 0 opacity, and suddenly it's all these little minor things that make it feel completely different and completely digital. And again, this is something that no one probably will see. So the one on the top is the fake film dissolve, and here on the bottom is the just linear. I'm fading out the layer just using values from 100 to 0 with linear interpolation. And I forgot where I was going with this, but yeah, again, the thing is, it's one of those super niche, tiny pet projects that it's hard for people other than you to appreciate, but you're just so happy that it looks exactly how it should be, or your chess engine, it does exactly how you want it to behave, and you've made it all yourself, and you figured out what the problem was and found a creative way of with programming, with doing the thing, do what you want it to do. And yeah, for me, it's a bit more here when we're talking about visual stuff, but I feel like it's the same thing, where it's just this nerdy project that you love to sink your teeth in for no reason other than it's just so much fun. Right. Frank said the initial phase was just seeing where I got without doing any research and just using whatever knowledge I'd picked up by osmosis over the years. But then I did some reading, and that's where all the speed ups come from. And now you can really appreciate those things, because if you just read it and then, as I sometimes do, I just read some code and then type it in. I'm not copy pasting it because then I would have no recollection of it at all. So I really type it out. But of course, if you already type it out with all those speed up and adjustments, there's no learning involved there, or not as much as when you do it wrong or incorrectly, or at least unoptimized the first time around. And that's, again, it's also the fun, because now you know exactly when this situation comes up once again, how to, you got some more tools in your belt. Frank says, I didn't read anything in detail, though it's still a lot of improvisation. And that's the fun, right? The thing is that I wanted to write a chess program for my ZX Spectrum when I was 10 or so, and I managed to draw a checkerboard pattern before giving up. And the itch has always been kind of there ever since. 40 years is enough of that. Here. Do you still have the same ZX Spectrum? Okay, this is a relevant question. Because if I had it, I would probably have it in a display case right behind me. And Frank says, I do, and yes, trying to make this run on that is in my head. It's I feel like this is the best kind of pet project, where it's something that you started many years back and never really got to work, and now you come back to it with a lot more knowledge and everything, and suddenly you make progress. For me, it's the game making thing, right? Because as a kid, I always thought I was making games with BASIC, right? And when I looked at a couple of years back at the actual games that survived that I've made over these years, I still can maybe I can show you one or two. It wasn't really. I realized I wasn't really making games. I was just making text, not even choose your own adventure, very linear things, essentially just interactive fiction, where the interactivity was mostly just pressing a button or something. Let's see if I can find one. And the other thing was just ASCII art and animation. So here, let's say, let's go 1996. This is just called trick film, which means, animation. So let me zoom in a little bit. Yeah, well, that's more than a little bit. Yeah, let's just run this and see what's happening there. And I cannot. Okay, so this is here. That's just ASCII animation, and that's it. Let's try this again. And I thought I was making games or anything, but no, it's just some silly animations there. And so the cool thing was coming back to it, and suddenly, like with this Pascal thing, again, it stems from exactly this, where I thought as a kid I was making games and had no idea how memory worked or how computers actually worked or anything. I just understood, okay, this is how I can redraw the screen, this is how I can change colors, and this is how I can ask players for input, not really doing anything apart from displaying their name with the input or storing files and so on. So I've learned much more that probably would have resulted in much better projects and games as a kid. And now coming back to it, but trying to make something targeting, let's say, DOS. For some reason, it feels like coming whole circle again and feeling like, okay, this is what I started back then as a kid, utterly unequipped to do it, and right now I have the time for it, I have the motivation for it, and most importantly, I think I have the skill to do this. Good luck with that. Basic looks scary to me. Oh dear. What have I missed? Trying to make this run, I think I need to replace some RAM chips, so oh dear. Good luck with that. Basic looks scary to me. And oh yes, that wouldn't be in BASIC. There are modern development environments with C compilers for those old systems. I think this is the best thing of developing retro games nowadays is, to develop on a modern system and then use a cross compiler or something. Because, as much as I enjoy retro tech and so on, probably programming something in DOS, for DOS, or even worse, on a C64 for a C64, I don't think this is really as much fun, because in the end, I mean, unless the enjoyment comes from using clunky tools, I don't think there is a lot of enjoyment there. I mean, I want to use modern tools to make old-looking, retro-looking things just faster and more efficiently. It's not about the speed; it's just about the quality of life, so to speak. Because if I need to have to enter pixels by punching in numbers or using the joystick, of course I can do this for the good old retro feeling, and maybe I will for one or two graphics. But then I say, okay, I'm good. Times have changed. If you want to be really impressed, have a look at a 1 kilobyte chess on the ZX. This is impossible. Takes only 672 bytes in memory, but it implements chess rules except for casting, promotion, and en passant, including a computer. Oh dear, it was the smallest implementation of chess on any computer at the time. Wow, this is impossible. Awesome. Okay, cool. I didn't know that this existed, but 1K chess is really impressive. Yeah, this rules. This I can't even. I mean, reminds me of. Like I said, I'm more of a visual person. This reminds me of the Farbrausch demos. Some of you might have heard of this, the FR demos, because they are 64 kilobytes, and they go on for like 11 minutes, abstract visuals, or sometimes not so abstract, with music and everything. It's just insane what they can do with just 64 kilobytes. I wonder which one was my favorite, because the problem is they all title their demos with FR for Farbrausch and then just a number. And I think Debris was my favorite back then. Yeah, I think that's the one. And again, it feels like making a chess engine in just a couple of bytes. We're not talking about kilobytes there. I feel like this is probably on the same level as something like this. That's the one. I remember this one. And again, this runs for 7.5 minutes and is like 60 from 2007. It ranked first, and the file again, I think 64 kilobytes or something. That because with procedural generation and everything, you have to pull all the stops to make this happen. And again, I feel like this reminds me good old times. And again, there's music, of course. There is music to this as well. So yeah, Farbrausch 41 Debris. If anyone is interested, let me paste it here. Insane. YNOC says, shit, I gotta head out for work. Thanks for streaming, Phil, and I hope everyone has a good rest of your day/night. Thank you so much. All the best for your work. Thank you for dropping by. Have a wonderful week. And I'm looking at the watch now, and I probably also have to finish this stream, because tomorrow, back at work, getting up early. So probably I need to... Hello, I need to wrap this up. Frank says, I mean, this ZX81 without a RAM expansion only has 1 kilobyte, so it's not as if they had the room not to do it. But still, I mean, when you go like, okay, you have 1 kilobyte of RAM, probably my first guess or my first intention would not be to, I think I can make a chess engine for this. And instead I would say, okay, I have 1 kilobyte of RAM. Maybe I can fit half a screen worth of text in there or something. Which is of course why it doesn't do the things it doesn't do, right? I think, this makes sense. I mean, it feels like getting the first 50 or 60 or even 80% of something done is the most straightforward thing. And for the last 80%, you need like 800% more time, because suddenly things get super complex and there are so many little edge cases. And with so many projects, it feels like the first part is you breeze through it, because that's the low-hanging fruit. And as soon as you start, probably in this case, hitting memory limits or something, it reminds me of what was this? Also a retro game that was like, I don't know. I don't want to say anything wrong, but probably so in the ballpark of like 8 megabytes in the end. And the cartridge that they shipped on was like not megabyte, megabit. That's a factor of 8 change anyway. And the cartridge that they had, they of course only had a certain size, and they for days, even weeks, they just tried to get rid of, what was it, in I think 74 or 78 bytes, because they could not compress anything even more. And really just to get, if you have troubles really to get 78 bytes, something smaller, then you've completely exhausted all options that you had when it takes you days to find ways, super clever ways of changing your code to get this in. It's madness in the best way. Thank you, Cursey Boo. And Frank says they didn't do it because it was easy, right? So the automated unicorn attempts to balance on one hoof, and so should I. Again, thank you everyone for dropping by to my very informal, very ranty, very meandering birthday party. I'm very glad that I could share with you my little progress when it comes to the Ludum Dare 42 documentary. And yeah, next week, I probably, since I'm back to work, which also means getting back to work with my little Twine game, like I said, it's for half a year in almost beta, but I only need to implement the endings and then do some testing and then have an open beta, or at least probably it's going to be a closed beta. But anyway, I'm very much looking forward to this. So yeah, things should get hopefully a little bit less frazzled here in the stream in terms of focus. So Frank says, thanks for the stream. As always, I say thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Frank, for sharing and for having more videos for me to watch. Very much looking forward to the printer thing. Yeah, from what you've said, I'm already intrigued. Yeah, and with that, I say again, thank you everyone, and I need to find the end slate here. I reorganized my Stream Deck. You shouldn't do this, especially when you finally have built up your muscle memory for this over 3 years, and then you change things. Anyway, I'm rambling again. Kirsty says again, happy birthday, dance emoji, and bye. And so say I. Thank everyone. Have a wonderful week as always. I wish you all the best for your projects, and have lots of fun, happiness, and good fortune. And I see you on Saturday. Yeah, next Saturday will be the next stream. Until then, yeah, enjoy your week. Bye-bye.